Hello, Peep. Welcome to Comic Book Investment Chat. It's been a while. I think the last time I had a chat was maybe a month ago. It's been a while. I meant to do one last week, but then I realized it was a Super Bowl. Other people had better things to do. On top of that, I was still getting over my sickness. For those that follow my channel, I my family and I went to Orlando to celebrate Chinese New Year. We watched a basketball game, we stayed overnight, we went out to eat, we stuffed our face, and then we all caught the flu. Yeah, in yeah, it was not pleasant. Hello, Louis. So we came home from the trip, and then 3 days later, everybody started to get sick. Anthony was home from school for 4 days. We all had the sneezy, the runny nose, the fever, the chill, the aches. It was not the coronavirus, thankfully. But the worst part is, of course, the coughing at the end of the sickness, right? So we were just coughing. All three of us was in synchronicity. Seemed like we couldn't get over the cough. But last Sunday was the first time that we start to feel better, and I was about to launch a investment chat, but then I realized it's Super Bowl Sunday, so let's not do it. So welcome. Hello, everybody. This is my afternoon coffee. I get 3 cups of coffee a day. Anyhow, January is gone. Next week, the February auction kick off already. Yeah, it's Fast and Furious with Comic Link, and it will be interesting to see the price trend. I still have a box of books that I have yet to ship to Comic Link. To me, it's no rush. Okay, when the market is in the state that it is in, I'm not gonna rush dumping books because that's just a recipe for low prices. You know, Unfortunately, some people have to sell. Okay, when things are bad like this, you will see who has to sell and who is willing to sit and wait and be patient. And I see a lot of pretty low prices on many books across all ages, from Silver Age to modern to bronze to golden age. I see a lot of bargains. It's a great time to buy, no doubt about that. Hello, Sean. Um, I bought some stuff. I bought something today, which I'm pretty excited to show in a few days when it got here. It's one of those sit bit moment. I'm really not actively out there buying anything, but when I saw this book, it's one of those on my list, not high in priority of any sort, but it's a book that have a huge nostalgia effect on me. So the reason to buy was more about nostalgia than investment return or anything else. Okay, it's I can admit to this that it is nostalgia more so than investment return, because I'm pretty sure the book that I just bought this morning um, is not going to yield me any kind of positive return if I sell it next year or whenever. Okay, it's nostalgia, purely nostalgia. But when I come down to this market, it's not a secret that the market is weak. Yet, I think it's very funny how some people may not be aware that the market is weak. You know, as popular as the stock market is, okay, a million times more people participate in the stock market compared to the comic book market, okay? Who knows how many more, but a lot more. But as with many things in life, if you're not participating in it, a lot of people don't pay attention to what's going on. Okay, if you um, if you have a bad market in the stock market, let's say last year, last December and January, when the market went down 20%, I talked to a few people that may have some investment in their 401k, but they're really not following the stock market all that closely on a daily basis. They were oblivious to the downturn in the market. Not a bad thing, because sometimes when you're oblivious to the market, you don't act irrationally. You don't sell on fear. You don't sell on panic. Okay, so it's not a bad thing to sometimes not be too focused on the market. Not a bad thing. So I'm not here to tell you that if you invest, if you have money in the stock market, whether it is 401k or invest in your company that you work for because your company give you stocks. There are people that work for company that give them stock options and all that stuff. It's okay to not be obsessed with the way the market works if you have a long-term horizon. Okay, so if your view of the market is 20 years from now, it's okay to not be obsessed with short-term direction. Okay, so it's funny to me to talk to collectors. In fact, I spoke to a collector recently, last week. A person that, well, a lot of people that email me, hello Rag, a lot of people that email me to chit chat about the hobby and whatever. Many people will say, I love your videos, I've been watching your videos for years, I watch every video. It doesn't matter if that's not true or not, it doesn't matter, but I hear a lot of that. But one person emailed me with that kind of like, I have been a huge fan, I watched your video for years, I watch everything. And he said, I want to hurry and submit my big keys because CGC charge a percentage of the fair market value of big books. He has big keys, Silver Age keys like Amazing Fantasy 15 and X-Men 1 and Fantastic Four #1, all that stuff. And he's like, I want to submit them now because all these books has been going up so much the last few years, and if I keep on waiting, they're gonna get more expensive. And if CGCs charge me 3% of fair market value, then my fee keep going up and up and up. And I'm like, you do realize that the books drop, many of these books dropped 25% or so in value compared to a year ago. And he's like, really? And I'm like, you said you watch my videos. Yeah, so it's always floor me to hear that kind of like, the market went down? Really? I'm like, yeah. You want me to give you an example how Amazing Fantasy 15 4.0 went from 30,000 to 20 something? So it's not pleasant to have to give him the bad news, but it is what it is. So it's always surprised me to hear comments from people that is in the hobby that may not be aware of what's going on with the big books, the big price, the big downturn. Hello, Christopher. Hello, Jake's Kingdom and Wobblies. What is the question there? The question say, hello, Nick, question, should I sell or hold cap 117? Here's an answer. Depend on how much you paid. If you paid less, a lot less than what you than what the book is worth, then by all means you can do whatever you wish as far as holding it or selling it. Okay. When it comes down to books that you bought that is in the green, I always advise people that it's always okay to sell even though your profit is less. It's always tougher to give advice to people when they said, Nick, should I sell this book now when I paid more? Yeah, it's never easy to give the kind of advice when that's the kind of question. Same thing with stocks. If someone tell me, Nick, should I sell Facebook right now? It is, I bought it, 20% higher. What should I do? Oh, that's when it's become very difficult to give an answer to, because you don't want to. The last thing that I want to do is tell someone sell, and then the stock come back, and then the person would hate me because I told him to sell at a loss, right? And so not an easy answer. So that's why Wobbler's, back to your question, should you sell your cap 117? The answer is depend on what your situation is. If you are in the money, in the green, surely you can wait and be patient, right? And wait for the book to rebound maybe in 2 years or 3 years. If you're not in a rush, okay? I have no idea when the market is going to rebound. No idea. Okay, when over the past year as the market decline, I talk a lot about the V-shaped recovery. Okay, we're not getting the V-shape. There's no V-shape here. V-shape happen when the downturn is sharp and fast and an overreaction. Okay, for those that in the stock market, there's when a stock drops for not good reasons, and you're lucky to be in the right spot to jump in and buy on the big dip, you might do very well on the big snap up, snap back, right? That happened to me from time to time. I do get lucky, but those are not what we have in the current comic market. This is not a V-shaped bottom. Okay, there is no. We have this kind of it being a downturn like this, painful for some people, if not many, but it's not gonna be like this. There is, it's the recovery in the market tend to be like this. Okay, you get the V shape, or you get the big, like a very very wide V. Okay, it could be a very long downturn and a very slow rise. That might be what we have. It's not going to be a sharp V. Yep, Wobblers. Yeah, the show, I don't know. To me, that book is going to behave more on the way that book has behaved. I mean, that book didn't do a heck of a lot after the big run up, right? So I don't think if there is a bump on the success of the TV show, and I have no reason to believe that the TV show is not going to be successful, I don't think it's going to make the book jump 25% or 50% or whatever it is to recoup to the all-time high. If that book is going to go back to the all-time high, whatever it is, it's going to be something that happened a few years down the road as a whole market return, more so than that book. Okay, but that's just my opinion. I could be wrong. That the problem with the comic book market, and I have discussed this ad nauseum, it is very inefficient. Okay, it's very inefficient. So how one book behave for any particular day, for any particular copy, does not mean that it's going to be something that's going to translate into every copy of that book. Okay, it need for a book to have the kind of positive movement across many different grades, it needs the entire market to move up. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say, is that if you see one price bump on one book because the movie and the rest of the market is still in the crapper, then don't expect that move to be long lasting. Does that make sense? Hello, Eric Center from Hawaii. Hawaii. So yeah, I mean, so when it comes down to, people view of the market, it's always jarring for me to talk to someone in the hobby that completely not aware how poor the market has been, and in many ways, it's good for them. Okay, if you are enjoying the hobby and you're not out there buying a lot of stuff, it is a good thing that you're not really focused on this, because then you will act irrationally if you feel losing out and missing out on selling at the top or buying at the bottom, all that stuff. So go on, be bliss. Ignorant is bliss at time. There's nothing wrong with that, because the hobby is not going to go away. Okay, this hobby is not going to go to zero next year. Eventually, there will be a bottom. Where? I don't know. It could be right now. I don't know. So I'm not, I've been said that I'm not negative enough. Yeah, believe it or not, there are people out there that tell me you are not negative enough. And some people will say the opposite, you're too negative. So you figured out the camp of those two sides on what they think about the market when somebody tell me I'm not negative enough. Christopher Joy said he watched the videos, just had the sound off. Yeah, I mean, I was floored. I was floored to see the comment that he didn't know the market was down 25%. I'm like, and you said you watched a lot of my videos. He said, yeah, he did reply and said that he did see my commentary that the market was down, but he didn't pay attention to how much, if that makes sense to you. Lawrence Jackson asks, is it a good time to get into low number ASM? You know my rule. It is always good to get into ASM if, here's a big if you can get it 30% or more below fair market value. You might not like that answer, but that is one answer that I can guarantee. Well, guarantee is a bad word. That is one strategy that I can say will likely yield you a profit or a good return or a good investment in the long run. If you watch my video recently on hard spec versus hard flip, where I show that I bought a Spider-Man 41 for cheap last summer, well, guess what? The market went lower since last summer, and guess what? Even with slabbing costs, I still walk away with a small profit if I decide to sell that book right now. Okay, but I mean, I am in no hurry to do so, so I can be patient and see how things unfold, and maybe I will be able to sell the book 25% higher next year. So as always, timing matters. Entry points matters. Okay, that's one other thing that as a stock trader, we all know. All stock trader will tell you, if you buy a stock at the right price, it's always a chance to make money. Okay, it's not about is it a good stock or a bad stock. It's about, did you buy the stock at the right price? Same thing with a comic book. Doesn't matter if it's a good book, good key, big key, small key, minor keys. The question is, what's your entry point? Okay, as I said it before, my entry point, it better be 30% below fair market value. I'm not paying anything fair market value. No such thing. This dummy is not going to play fair market value with anything when it comes down to buying something to flip. You are welcome, Lawrence, because I am consistent. If anything, you have, for those that follow my channel, if you knew, you know something about me now, but if you have been around with me, I have talked about, buying things below fair market value consistently for many years on YouTube. And that's why I preach to people why I don't buy slab. It is very hard to buy a slab for 30% below fair market value. Very hard. Okay. It can be done. I do get lucky. Last year, I was able to pick up a Hope 180 9.0, way below fair market value because the seller had no idea what the value. I'm surprised because I was on eBay and there was a seller on eBay that's listed like five, I think five slabs, and four of the five slab he priced them around fair market value. It was nothing cheap. And then the Hook 180 was like $500. No, it was $400 below fair market value. Yeah, it was ridiculous. It was like, wow. I mean, I pounced on that sucker so fast. I didn't even think twice. I did not even make an offer. I'm just like, the asking price is so low. I don't even need to look at GPA to know that it is way low. And I bought it and I submitted to Comic Link to be auctioned off in their October auction. And after commission and fees and all that stuff, I walk away with $300 profit. Yeah, no complaint, no here. Okay, so can a 30% flip? That one turned out to be almost a 50% profit. I bought it for 600. I sold it for almost 1,000. After commission, I make over 300. So, yeah, I get lucky on that one. So it can happen, but it's much harder to make that kind of margin on slab. Yes, would I pay fair market value on things I want from my collection from time to time? Would I man up to something? Even manning up to something does not mean that I overpay. My man up to something is more so about seeing a book and the asking price is so reasonable that I'm willing to just buy at the asking price, even though it might not be 30% below fair market value. It might be only 10% below fair market value, but I'm not going to waste time negotiating because it is a book that I'm willing to pay. Now, sometimes I do man up and pay a premium. Make no mistake, not everything I buy is cheap. Okay, there are times where I think I overpaid, but I'm okay with it. Hello, Comic Addiction. Sean Ashby said, I have heard a bit about Alpha Flight getting some show, but I'm not certain you have heard anything about that. There's always a possibility. It doesn't matter with me, to be honest. Sean is Canadian, so I can understand the Canadian fans out there would love to see that for many reasons. Beside the point about making money in the market. I don't know. I have a couple nice Alpha Flight 120. I like 120 more than 121 because I like the cover more. A tougher book to find in high grade, but I already sold my slab. I have a 9.6 that I sold both 120 and 121 long ago. So I have a couple. I think I have like 4 copies of 120 and 121 each in high grade. By high grade, I mean 9.0 ish. But if Alpha Flight became a movie, whatever, I'm sure I will slap at least 2 copies of each books and sell it. That's my plan. I have no desire to keep anything. I got a few Black Hawk, Silver, and Golden Age comics. My goodness, those are not commonly collect. That's for sure. Wasn't there supposed to be a Black Hawk movies? Not TV, movies from Steven Spielberg, or am I imagining things? I can't remember if I heard something about Black Hawk, but I don't know. I don't know anything about collectability or investability of Black Hawk. Eric Center say, why are there so many graded books on eBay that are way over fair market value? Are the people dumb enough to buy it at that price? Sometime. Okay. There are people that go shopping on eBay and not pay attention to what the market value is. They see it, they want it, they buy it. For whatever reason, I don't know. The same thing with seller. There are people that sell things at ridiculously low price sometimes, not because they, occasionally you have a seller that are not really familiar with the market for whatever reason. Also, they want to do the homework to look for, what similar books go for. They also don't know how to grade. They listing at low. I capitalize on many of those kind of sellers. That's how I can buy books for way below fair market value, because they are undergraded. That's the strategy. I have always told people that the best way to buy keys for cheap is buy raw books that are undergraded. I said this many times in many videos. And people that list books, there's always people list book at ridiculously high price on eBay. And if eBay charge people a fees to let things sit there for years, a high enough fees, people will stop do that. Okay, but there are a lot of people that there's no incentive for some seller. There's not a lot of incentive for a lot of sellers to sell things quickly on eBay. Okay, if you want to sell something quickly, it's easy, right? We all can agree that if you list something for cheap, it will go quick. Okay, regardless of the market, regardless of how this market is, if you list something cheap enough, it will go. Okay, price is the ultimate liquidity driver. Okay, not the books, not the what. It doesn't matter what the book is. Price is the ultimate liquidity driver. Okay, if you want to sell it quick, you can list it low enough, it will go. Yes, JU, I made a video that I will load tomorrow about Funko stuff. So you are ahead of the game. In fact, I emailed a bunch of people last week. Was it Wednesday, when Funko stock took a beating? I emailed a bunch of people, and I made a video the next day, which I was gonna load yesterday or today, but I just have way too many videos on the queue that I can't load. I want to get the auction up and running today, because I definitely want to close the auction next Sunday. Thank you, Adrian. Sequential Geek. Yes, JU. I think that's how I said the name. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun video. I talk about opportunities. Okay, the hint to that video is, yes, the stock crash, but I talk about opportunities to perhaps enter into buying Funko stock at the right time to make a lot of money. So we'll see. Yeah, the Funko thing, just give you a quick preview. The downfall of the hobby the as far as prices of 2019 is more widespread than just comic books. It's other things related, okay? Funko for sure. Yeah, Jay, pay attention to the market. Pay attention to how people talk about Funko on YouTube. If you see people getting all excited about getting the latest Funko and showing up in their videos, which you and I know, if you pay attention to YouTube videos, there have been very few of those, right? Yeah? People not all jazzed up on showing the latest Funko Pop in the last few months. Just wait until the next craze of the movies and the next hype train come and people are going crazy on Funko Fantastic Four and Funko X-Men, this and that. When that happens, then go buy some Funko stock. There are the right time. Wait for the buzz. Wait for the frenzy. Because until that happens, there is no reason why Funko stock would rebound, because sales is not going to rebound. If anything, sales of Funko is sliding just as bad as price on big keys, right? It's just a hunch. Our password said I went crazy and bought 3,000 comic books, and I saw that video. It was on my recommended list. I did watch that video. Yes. Yeah, I saw that. You did go crazy, my friend. It's okay. If you can afford it, nothing wrong with go crazy sometime. Let's see, it's 4:30, so I got halfway there. So back to the market. When it comes down to this market in a downturn that we have, I think this is just my personal opinion. Okay, it may not be a popular opinion, but I feel that the longer the downtrend is, the better it is for the hobby in the long run. Because what's happened is it will wash out the fringe player, the fringe collectors, the fringe participant that are in this for the quick buck, that's in this for the hype. If those throw away and walk away and move on to something new, something that they enjoy, then you have a more solid base. In the stock market, people talk about strong hand and weak hand. Okay, if you have weak hand holders, that is a very weak foundation for a stock price to stay high, because the moment that the stock market have problems, the weak hand is going to run in fear and dump, and you get a crash in the price. Okay, so what we have are weak hands and strong hands that hold the books or the stocks. And what we have right now is a price decline. You see the people that are dumping. Okay, it's nothing wrong with being weak hands. Weak hands can be many things. A weak hands can come from what? People that over leverage, people that buy books with money they don't have. Okay, if you buy something with borrowed money and it's declining, a lot of times you're forced to sell, even if you love the books. And that's part of a definition of a weak hand, is that you're forced to sell. So the longer the pain go, the more likely the weak hand is going to be washed out. And once the weak hand are washed out, whether it's in the stock market or the comic book market, I think you will have a stronger foundation for the rebound. Okay, so in my experience with the stock market, I like to see the wash out, because once the wash out happen with any given stock, and if it is a good company, a solid company, it's a great time to buy the stock, because you get a strong, sustainable rebound later. Okay, so for me, I don't care if this slide in the market this year. So we have 2 years of slide that will wash out a lot of impatient people. If you're in this for the quick buck and you see a 2 year slide, that's a lot of pain. Okay, that's gonna chase out a lot of people that are not in this for the love of the hobby, for the love of comic books. They're in it for the pure profit, for the pure quick buck. And if the quick buck, the quick profit is not there, that's a lot of pain to have to suffer for 2 years. So if those fringe participants leave this hobby, that's not a bad thing. Because what you're gonna get is a slower rise, a more logical rise in the price of many books, instead of this hyper book doubling, tripling in the last 2 or 3 years. That's just insanity. Nolan Morgan, hello. Do I have any 10.0 comics? I do not. I do not. I have one that I sold. Yes, I have one that I sold. Hello, TH Comics. Correct, comic edition. I had a modern books that was a 10.0 and I sold that literally the next day after I got it back from CGC. How many 9s and 10s does he have? Do I have? As far as 9s, a lot of 9s are not that hard to find in Bronx and modern. Okay, so I don't count how many I have. I sold a lot. I probably slab and sold in excess of 700 9.6 and 9.8 Bronx over the past 10 years. Yeah, at least 700. Yeah, 9.6 or 9.8. Hello, Comic Mac Musings. Samuel Wessel. I paid $45 for an Avenger number 16 for 4.5. I assume that's a raw book, not rare, a raw book. Is that good? I don't know. I don't have GPA open right now. I'm assuming that you know how to grade. Okay, when it comes down to getting a book, whether it's a deal or not. I hear this all the time. Okay, I hear this all the time. I also saw a lot of video of people, they show a book. Oh, I got this on eBay. It's a steal because I've only paid X dollar for this book. And I look at the book in the video, I'm just like, that looked like a VG. And if that's a VG, then it's not a good deal. So when it comes down to getting something at a good deal or not, a big, if not the essential part of that is, what is a grade? Okay, if the grade is 4.5, 5.0, depending on how accurate is the grade. Okay, I cannot say that whether it's a good deal or not. I don't think it's a bad deal, but is it a good deal? I don't know. But my advice to everyone that want to buy raw books, because I buy raw books on eBay all day long. Okay, and if you follow my channel and watch my Path to a Key or Art of the Flip or even things I buy from my collection is raw, right? And if you follow those videos, you also know that I flip a lot of books for singles and double. Okay, for those that are not aware of the term, and I get this question all the time too. I even make videos and still people ask me, a double is what? Double my money. If I buy something for $200 and I can sell it for $400, that's a double. What's a single? Well, a single be something that get me 30% or more, right? But below 100%. So if I buy something for $100 and I sell it for 150, yeah, that's a single, a solid single. So yeah, when it comes down to buying raw books, please, people, figure out how to learn how to grade, okay? Because whether something is a deal or not is all dependent on what the grade is. I don't care if you buy something for $50, but if you overgrade the books, if the seller overgrade the books, and you overpay based on the overgrade, then it's not a deal. Does that make sense? What's the worst comic book grade you ever got? The worst one I ever got was incomplete. I bought a book many years ago, way back in 2008, 2009. I bought a book from the CGC forum where that's supposed to be honest seller, okay? I bought a book, a Spider-Man 8, Silver Age, low grade. This is on me, dumb me. I trusted the seller, so I didn't even check the book. I checked the outside. I didn't bother to look inside. Okay, this is way back in 10 years ago, before I got wise and said, no more. I didn't flip through the books to count the pages. It was missing the pin-up page. The book become incomplete. Garbage. Yeah. Unfortunately, that seller on the CGC forum was also no longer on the CGC forum, so I can't go there and say, don't buy from this guy. He sold me incomplete books, blah, blah, blah. So, lesson learned by me. Uh, Adrian Hornbuckle said, I would like to see more tutorials on low grades. That is why I do the series Grade This Book. For those that follow my channel, at least once a month, sometime twice a month, I do a video where I show you a book from my comic shop. And you know, because my comic shop has really good quality scans of both the back and the front. And then I talk about my grading and then show you what my comic shop grade is, and people can do their own grading and vote based on the poll that I provide. To me, that's the best way to teach grading when it comes down to that level, because for low grade to mid grade books, there are just so many different flaws that can keep a book in that grade range. So it's really hard for me to sit down and do a video like a 9.6 video or 9.8 or 9.2 videos, where it's much easier. If you talk to any professional graders at CGC or CBCS, they always say grading 9.0 or higher, easy. Grading 3.0 below, easy. 4.0, 6.0, that grade range are very difficult because there are so many situations that can be in the 4.0 to a 6.0 range. So it is impossible to do a tutorial. You know, it's easy for people to request. Nothing wrong with requesting, but let me say this: the only way to learn is to do those grade these videos, because there's no way for me to do a tutorial that cover every basis for 6.0, 5.0, or 4.0. Impossible. The book behind me is not a wall book. They're just posters. I should swap out. These are FOOM, FOOM, FOOM poster. So it's about, I have the whole set of poster that I post on the other side of the wall. I can always switch them and put them back there, and then you can see different pictures back there. If you want razzle dazzle behind the there are people that tell me that my channel, my backdrop is so damn bland and boring. Yes, I have got that comments on my channel before. If you're here for sizzle, razzle dazzle, it ain't it. Nolan Morgan asks, how do you think the best way to fix rip page is? Unfortunately, my advice to people with rip page is to leave it alone, because it is what it is. Okay, there's no way to fix a rip page. If you use tape, you can do that, but tape over time can stain the page. Anything else, CGC will give you the restore thing. So is there a way to fix a rip page? Leave it alone, unless you want CGC to give you conservation grade or restore grade. Yes, this is not faded books whatsoever. That's just the color of the film poster. Adrian, yes, it is what it is. Yeah. Not much I can do about that. People, when I got that comment just recently too, can you do something with your background because it's so damn bland? I'm like, if you want information, I just don't have the time and effort to make my video more exciting. Sequential Geek have a question. Have you used Instagram? No. Well, I try to sell on Instagram on a few occasions with zero success. Zero. And I don't use Instagram at all. I log into Instagram like once a month. I keep telling people many times on YouTube that if you want to contact me, email me. Okay, don't DM me on Instagram, because I'm barely ever on Instagram like once a month. Yet people still do that. I still have to go on Instagram once a month to check for the DM to see what the heck's going on, and often I see message there that is like 3 weeks old, and I'm like, come on, email me, please. Let's see. I have not sell anything on Amazon as far as comic books related stuff. Never. The thought of selling something on Amazon never crossed my mind. Perhaps I should explore, but yeah, my wife had bought me 2 comic books from Amazon, and she way overpaid for them. When I got the package from Amazon, I'm just like, what is this? She bought me 2 modern books I show on a video from Amazon. I'm just like, why would you do that? I'm like, please. So I told her nicely, said, please don't do that again, because that's those 2 same modern books that you bought from me. You can buy them from my comic shop for half the price. Okay, even with shipping, it's still half the price. So don't overpay for comic book stuff on Amazon, please. Earl Hawkins asks, have you ever bought a restore book? Yes, I have. I have bought in my early days by mistake, not knowing how to spot restoration. Yes, I have. Even now, occasionally when I buy something from eBay, I saw the restoration later and I return the books. If you follow my channel, you have never seen me unbox anything from CGC that I submit that come back restore. So luckily, my restoration skill spotting is pretty good. So even today, even this year or last year, if I buy something that have restoration, I return the books with no problem. So that's the risk of buying raw books on eBay. You always have a chance to run into something that had been restored. But if you know what you're doing, if you know how to spot restoration, and I do, I'm pretty confident in my skills of spotting restoration, I return them. And as far as restore books, I own restore books. I own a couple restore books. In fact, my one of my most beloved books in my collection is a Detective 31. There's an old video of me. That video got to be like 6 years old. Um, that I showed the Detective 31. That's restored. So I don't have a problem owning some rare books that are restored. Um, but that's me. I don't mind owning low grade, non restore books as well. Some people prefer to have high grade restore books over low grade, non restore books because for some people, low grade is just plain ugly. Yes, I have heard that term many times. It's so ugly, it's low grade. I'd rather have a 7.0 restore books than a 2.0 blue label. That's the personal preference for some people. So I personally, I don't mind. It's not a big deal for me to own restore books if it is a hard book to find. If your book was wet, would you steam or leave it? If I would leave it. You know, um, wet cleaning is impossible. Okay, the, when a book have a gloss, the moment that you steaming a book will not remove gloss. Okay, but steaming a book for me is only useful to relax the paper in order to press it. The moment that you apply any kind of rubbing and 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 harsh movement over the gloss area when you steam the book, you remove the gloss as well. So to me, I only steam the book to press. I do not steam a book to clean. Okay, steaming a book to clean, unless it is just a dab. Okay, you can dab a spot and not rub um, the gloss of the book. But it's about the skills and techniques, and I don't want to tell people that, oh yeah, you go ahead and steam something and then use a sponge and to scrub up something, because that's just a sure way to remove gloss, at least from my experience. Some people here talk about a recession is coming. I don't know if a recession is coming or not. Surely the virus in China is a big issue. It's a huge issue. You cannot have China economy be frozen for 3 months and not impact the world economy. Okay, you cannot have that. It's not a good thing. I'm not I'm not telling people to like liquidate the stock market because we're gonna have a crash. I don't know. But I can tell you this, the longer the virus keep China in quarantine, the more likely it will impact the world economy and the stock market. Okay, for now, it has yet to do so, but trust me, you don't want China to stay in quarantine for another 2 months. Trust me. If we are still talking about quarantine and 85,000 people infected and thousands of deaths in April, I guarantee you the stock market will be lower, because it will impact sales and global trades all over the world. So we're not there yet, but the longer China is in trouble, the higher the risk of a global recession. Just saying, we're not there yet. But for now, the Fed is easing. There's a lot of money. That's why the dip has been bought. Okay, when the stock market rebound as fast as it had in the last couple of weeks. At first when we had the whole virus thing, right? My God, the stock market took a 3 or 4% nosedive, but then it has stabilized the last week or so because people bought on the dip because there's a lot of liquidity in the market. Yes, SARS virus was pretty bad, but it's not as bad as this one. This one is much wider spread, right? From what I can remember. Okay, I mean, it takes 6 months to eradicate SARS, but SARS was not as widespread as the coronavirus. So when I'm saying that China need to get out of quarantine, I'm not saying that, I'm not predicting that the coronavirus is going to be eradicated in 4 months or 2 months. Okay, it need to get under control where quarantine is no longer widespread, all flights cancel, all that stuff. You can't have a big part of China frozen and think that's not going to impact the world economy. So we'll see. I am optimistic that things will stabilize. Well, right now the stock market is acting as if it's going to be stabilized. Okay, the financial market is looking at things and say it's not a big deal. Things will get under control. We'll see. Because I'm not going out there and cry panic, sell everything because the stock market is going to crash. I don't see that coming, not yet. But I do need to see China get that under control in the next 60 days because we are literally 45, 50 days, 60 days into this crisis, right? Because this crisis started well beyond January, sometime in mid-December, okay, or early December. So we're a good 2 months into this mess. So it's time to bottle it up. It's 4:57. My goodness, time flies. So I'm be gone. I'm be done in about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm not trying to answer the last few questions. Yeah, there is no such thing. There is. I talk about this many times that when there is a recession, the stock market will decline. There is almost nothing. There's almost no stock that can be decline proof. Okay, the market will drag down just about everything. So it's hard to pick a stock or a comic book and say that this book will be shield from any kind of decline. Well, so far with the way the comic market has behaved, has anything been safe on the decline? I'm sure some people can find something that say that it has not go down in the last year and a half. Good for you, okay? But I'm not going to be the one that say that there are places that are safe place to be in a declining market. Bye, Sequential. I gotta go myself shortly. Correct, James Hack. I mean, the way you look at the declining things is that, if you're out there buying, certainly you can buy things for cheap. So if you're in the mode of buying and selling, there's always opportunities. Okay, I talk about this on my channel often. In a declining market, there are always opportunities to buy things on the cheap. If you are always in the buying mode and not selling, that's a different story. But if you know how to play the market, there's always opportunities. It's even out if you know what you're doing. Before I go, one last question for Nolan Morgan. Nolan, if you don't know about me, if you're new to my channels, I don't work. I'm retired. I financially okay to a point where I am basically retire at my age of 53. So I have a lot of free time to play with the stock market, to play with comic books. I have a lot of free time, so I'm blessed. I'm fortunate to be in my position, okay? But it also came with decades of hard work, a lot of hard work to get to where I was. But I basically has been retired since 48. The last 5 years, I have cut down on my work and have more free time to make videos on YouTube. That's why you see my face on YouTube daily. Yeah, it's not because I have so much love for this hobby. I just have a lot of free time. That's the honest truth. A lot of my friends ask me, how can you make videos all day, every day? I'm just like, you have to go to work 8 to 10 hours a day. I don't. Making a 10-minute videos about comic books is not a big freaking deal when you don't work, right? Agree? Anyhow, thanks for joining me. It's 5 o'clock. Time to cook dinner for the family. Sunday night dinner. Yeah. Heck yeah. Bye-bye. If a recession is coming or not, surely the virus in China is a big issue. It's a huge issue. You cannot have China economy be frozen for 3 months and not impact the world economy. Okay, you cannot have that. It's not a good thing. I'm not I'm not telling people to like liquidate the stock market because we're gonna have a crash. I don't know. But I can tell you this, the longer the virus keep China in quarantine, the more likely it will impact the world economy and the stock market. Okay, for now, it has yet to do so, but trust me, you don't want China to stay in quarantine for another 2 months. Trust me. If we are still talking about quarantine and 85,000 people infected and thousands of deaths in April, I guarantee you the stock market will be lower because it will impact sales and global trades all over the world. So we're not there yet, but the longer China is in trouble, the higher the risk of a global recession. Just saying, we're not there yet. But for now, the Fed is easing. There's a lot of money. That's why the dip has been bought. Okay, when the stock market rebound as fast as it had in the last couple of weeks, at first when we had the whole virus thing, right? My God, the stock market took a 3 or 4% nosedive, but then it has stabilized the last week or so because people bought on the dip because there's a lot of liquidity in the market. Yes, SARS virus was pretty bad, but it's not as bad as this one. This one is much wider spread, right? From what I can remember. Okay, I mean, it takes 6 months to eradicate SARS, but SARS was not as widespread as the coronavirus. So when I'm saying that China need to get out of quarantine, I'm not saying that, I'm not predicting that the coronavirus is going to be eradicated in 4 months or 2 months, okay? It need to get under control where quarantine is no longer widespread all flights cancel, you know, all that stuff. You can't have a big part of China frozen and think that's not going to impact the world economy. So we'll see. You know, I am optimistic that things will stabilize. In well, right now the stock market is acting as if it's gonna be stabilized. Okay, the financial market is looking at things and say it's not a big deal. Things will get under control. We'll see. Because I'm not going out there and cry panic, sell everything because the stock market is going to crash. That's I don't see that coming, not yet. But I do need to see China get that under control in the next 60 days because we are literally 45, 50 days, 60 days into this crisis, right? Because this crisis started well beyond January, sometime in mid-December, okay, or early December. So we're a good 2 months into this mess. So it's time to bottle it up. It's 4:57. My goodness, time flies. So I'm be gone. I'm be done in about 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, so I'm not trying to answer the last few questions. Yeah, there is no such thing. There is. I talk about this many times that when there is a recession, the stock market will decline. There is almost nothing. There's almost no stock that can be decline proof. Okay, the market will drag down just about everything. So it's hard to pick a stock or a comic book and say that this book will be shield from any kind of decline. Well, so far with the way the comic market has behaved, has anything been safe on the decline? I'm sure some people can find something that say that it has not go down in the last year and a half. Good for you, okay? But I'm not going to be the one that say that there are places that are safe place to be in a declining market. Bye, sequential. I gotta go myself shortly. Correct, James Hack. I mean, the way you look at the declining things is that, if you're out there buying, certainly you can buy things for cheap. So if you're in the mode of buying and selling, there's always opportunities. Okay, I talk about this on my channel often. In a declining market, there are always opportunities to buy things on the cheap. If you are always in the buying mode and not selling, that's a different story. But if you know how to play the market, there's always opportunities. It's even out if you know what you're doing. Before I go, one last question for Nolan Morgan. Nolan, if you don't know about me, if you're new to my channels, I don't work. I'm retired. I financially okay to a point where I am basically retired at my age of 53. So I have a lot of free time to play with the stock market, to play with comic books. I have a lot of free time. So I'm blessed. I'm fortunate to be in my position. Okay. But it also came with decades of hard work, a lot of hard work to get to where I was. But I basically has been retired since 48. The last 5 years I have cut down on my work and have more free time to make videos on YouTube. That's why you see my face on YouTube daily. Yeah, it's not because I have so much love for this hobby. I just have a lot of free time. That's the honest truth. A lot of my friends ask me, how can you make videos all day, every day? I'm just like, you have to go to work 8 to 10 hours a day. I don't. Making a 10-minute videos about comic books is not a big freaking deal when you don't work, right? Agree? Anyhow, thanks for joining me. It's 5 o'clock. Time to Cook dinner for the family, Sunday night dinner. Yeah. Heck yeah. Bye bye.